Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we have a story that is shaking up the political landscape in Limpopo and sending ripples through the ANC nationally. We are talking about none other than Boy Mamabolo, the former ANC MP and long-serving party stalwart, who has officially resigned from the African National Congress after nearly 3 decades of political engagement. Yes, you heard that right, 29 years of loyalty, controversy, and a fair share of turbulence have come to an end with this dramatic exit. Mamabolo's departure did not come out of nowhere. Earlier this year, he was suspended from the ANC following a stormy episode on social media. He made remarks targeting fellow party member Onika Molloy, which the party deemed defamatory. Things escalated quickly when a court ordered him to shut down his Facebook account, a platform he had used quite freely, often to launch scathing attacks against both allies and opponents. One could say that Facebook, which many of us just used to scroll through cat videos, became Mamabolo's battleground for political warfare. And if you think that was the end of his challenges, think again. Mamabolo's attempt to start a new political movement under the banner Mandela for President ran straight into the wall of bureaucracy. The Independent Electoral Commission, or IEC, blocked the registration of the new movement, citing non-compliance with regulations. It seems that even when Mamabolo tries to make a fresh start, the political system keeps him on a tight leash. In a statement issued recently, Mamabolo described his resignation as very difficult and emotional. He spoke of giving 29 years of his life to the ANC, only to feel undermined by internal sabotage and what he described as character assassination. I have endured humiliation and betrayal from those I once called comrades. My integrity and my family's dignity have been dragged through the mud. I am left with no choice but to chart a new political path, he said. The language here is powerful and raw. It reflects the frustration of someone who has spent decades in a political organization, navigating the complex waters of loyalty, power struggles, and public scrutiny. Many of us can imagine how draining it must be to dedicate almost 3 decades to a party, only to feel like your trust has been shattered from within. Now, what makes Mamabolo's exit particularly interesting is the context in which it happens. Limpopo has long been a hotbed of political activity, factional battles, and internal maneuvering within the ANC. Analysts suggest that his resignation may not simply be a personal decision but a symptom of deeper fractures within the party's provincial structures. Others argue that it might mark the beginning of Mamabolo reinventing himself outside the ANC, carving out a new political identity that could either challenge the party or align with existing movements. Let's take a moment to consider the broader implications. With the 2026 general elections on the horizon, the ANC is already under pressure. Internal divisions, leadership struggles, and growing opposition strength mean that any defection, especially someone as prominent as Mamabolo, could have tangible effects on grassroots support. Limpopo, often considered a critical province for the ANC, may now see some voters reconsidering their loyalties. Politics, after all, is as much about perception as it is about policies. And a high-profile resignation like this sends a loud message to party members and voters alike. But let's also not ignore the human element here. Mamabolo's statement touches on dignity, integrity, and personal betrayal. It's a reminder that politics is not just a game of power, it's also a space where personal reputations, family honor, and public perception collide in sometimes brutal ways. For someone who has been in the political arena for decades, enduring public scrutiny and internal strife is part of the job, but when those pressures come from your own comrades, it can be particularly bitter. Now, Mamabolo has not yet outlined his next steps in detail. While his Mandela for President project was blocked, he has left the door open for future political engagement. Will he form a new party? Will he align with existing movements? Or could we even see him return to politics in a different role entirely? The possibilities are wide open, and for political watchers, this uncertainty makes the story all the more compelling. It's worth noting that Mamabolo's story is also a reflection of the shifting landscape in South African politics. The ANC, once a monolithic powerhouse, is experiencing significant internal challenges. Long-serving members are weighing loyalty against principle, factionalism is increasingly visible, and the electorate is watching closely. In this environment, the departure of someone like Mamabolo is not just news, it's a symbol of the evolving dynamics within the party and the country's political system. Now, let's add a bit of perspective with a touch of humor, because politics without a little irony is like bray without fire. Imagine dedicating 29 years of your life to a party, navigating all the meetings, emails, campaigns, and internal drama, only to have a social media post knock you sideways. And then, just when you think you've got a new political venture off the ground, the IEC blocks it. It's almost like life is testing your patience, your resolve, and your ability to come up with new campaign slogans on the fly. For viewers at home, this story offers several takeaways. First, it highlights the importance of integrity and personal conviction in politics. Mamabolo's decision to step away, despite decades of service, reflects a choice to prioritize principle over position. Second, it underscores the unpredictability of political careers, where even long-standing loyalty may not shield you from disputes, suspensions, or bureaucratic hurdles. And finally, it reminds us that the South African political scene is dynamic, full of twists, and sometimes downright dramatic. Before we wrap up, let's consider what this means for the average voter. A high-profile resignation like Mamabolo's might encourage citizens to pay closer attention to factional dynamics, leadership struggles, and policy debates. It also serves as a reminder that politics is not static, allegiances shift, strategies evolve, and new voices can emerge at any time. So, what comes next for boy Mamabolo? Only time will tell. Will he rise like a political phoenix, re-emerging with a new movement or platform? Or will this be a quieter phase of his life outside the public eye? Either way, his departure has already left its mark, sparking debates, analysis, and perhaps even a bit of gossip in political circles across Limpopo and beyond. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into South African politics, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment with your thoughts on Mamabolo's resignation. Do you think he will make a comeback? Or is this the end of his political journey? We want to hear from you. Thank you for tuning in. Politics is never boring, and as always, we'll keep bringing you the latest developments, analysis, and behind-the-scenes insights. See you next time.